Alright, so I'm just going to make a video, go with my tablet thread to show you guys how to do an inline splice of this wire today. Some tools you'll need is solder. I'm using a 60% tin, 40% lead solder with a rosin core. You need your soldering iron, some isopropyl alcohol for cleaning, some Q-tips. The forceps definitely help sometimes. I have a small piece of heat shrink and a heating tip for my, just a little torch tip for my soldering iron. And then some your wire cutters and wire strippers. I've already stripped these wires. So the first thing that we're going to want to do is actually twist these wires together like this. The same thing on this one. Alright, now the first step you want to do is we're actually going to cross the two wires. And it's important to try and get these about equal length. That makes this a lot easier. So you cross them and then you fold one down and then you fold the other one down, and you basically just keep doing that and twist it around here, and then I'm going to twist that around here. And then what we have is a mechanical joint between the two copper wires like this. Next step, I'm going to take my panel vise and just vise this really quick. Just makes this easy to do. Heat up my soldering iron. Move this over a little bit, probably see that better. There we go. And then you're just going to tin it . Get the solder to flow into the copper. Okay. I'm just going to let that cool down for a second. And the next step, since I did use a rosin core solder, I need to take one of my Q-tips and our isopropyl alcohol and just clean it off. Really quick. You can see that actually makes a really nice joint, very clean and straight. And the next step is rather easy. I'm just going to take my heat shrink, and depending on where you're doing this at, ideally you want to already have your heat shrink on the wire, and you would just slide it over like that. And then I can take my soldering iron, and since it's blowing hot air out the vent, I can just get the heat shrink on there. And that's it. I have a inline splice that is very strong, and it's going to be a very good electrical connection. It can bend here. One of the reasons to do them inline is because if you get solder down here and there's an angle on it, what happens is this gets very rigid right here at the joint because of the solder, and it can actually break right here if this were bent down. Like if the wire went down like this, or was at an angle, it's easier for it to break at that joint. But if it's straight like this, it's much stronger and it's not going to break at that joint. And that's it. That is a inline splice of a wire.